Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Will, and yes, it's been a little while. I haven't uploaded videos in a couple weeks or so actually. Been very busy focusing on other things, concentrating on university and things. So, I'm back now, and in this particular video, excuse me, what I want to do is to go through very, very briefly how to map a texture onto a piece of geometry in ViewPort3D in WPF. So it's kind of similar to my other video that I did. In the other video, I looked at a cone geometry and how to render that cone geometry onto ViewPort3D using WPF. But in this particular example, we're going to be taking it just a tiny notch further, and we're going to be looking at actually mapping a texture onto a geometry, moving it about and seeing what happens. So if I turn your attention now to this particular piece of geometry, if I just go ahead and start rotating things, you'll see that this kind of world mapping, this world map of the continents, it follows the geometry. However, there is a little bit of distortion that's going on here, as this is a very simplistic approach that I took to actually map the texture. Nothing too fancy going on here. I can keep rotating, and as you can see, as the block goes away into the distance, you can kind of see some more of the distortion is exposed. However, this is kind of good enough if you need a quick solution. Not much is needed in terms of the technical front. You just got to kind of know what you're doing in XAML and things like that. And as per usual in this particular case, I got most of the source material online, the source code, which I'm going to leave a link to in the description, because the original poster was quite kind enough to share this on the forum that I found this on. So I'm going to leave the original code there so you can observe and you can study if you wish to. So without much further ado, I'm not going to take too much time in this video because everything is actually on the link. Everything is going to be there on the original source code, so you can kind of just like learn from it. But just for the sakes and purposes of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how exactly I put together the code and just kind of let you guys know where I had some issues as well. So you can see the XAML view. I worked 90% in the XAML editor. And where you want to go, what you want to firstly do is create a viewport, right? So you need a viewport. And I think my one is called, yes, viewport number 2. And yeah, as the source code would show you, you want to add a camera, you want to add your lighting, all the kind of basic things. But the main thing you have to take into account is the texture coordinates. Now, if you're just simply using a solid brush for your geometry, you're not going to even need texture coordinates defined here, this property, the texture coordinates. But in the case of, mapping textures, you're going to need it for this particular approach. Now, there is an algorithmic approach you can take if you want to take it another step further and UV map, which is a little bit more advanced, but you will get a lot more better results. Your results will be really consistent. But this is just like slap on a texture onto a piece of kind of symmetrical geometry, let's just say it like that, such as a cube, maybe even a sphere. I can try this with a sphere, see what happens. I can only imagine that the texture coordinates would be a lot more elongated, but something I can try in a little bit more depth maybe. But anyway, yeah, so what you want to do, you want to set the texture coordinates. Now, it does matter what these numbers are if you're working in XAML. This is kind of the disadvantage of working in XAML, because I'm not allocating an algorithm as such as if I was working in C#. However, it's a little bit faster, and as you can see, because we're just dealing with a cube, there's not much here. Let me actually just zoom in so you can see a little bit better what's going on. But what does tend to happen is that these numbers do make a difference. So if I were to just zoom in on the view here, the viewport, if I change this 0 to a 1, as you can see, the geometry just changes. Like, it kind of protrudes. Everything is kind of different. It actually looks all right like that. Not all right, but it's kind of stretched. What was it? Was it a 1 or was it a 0? I can't remember now. I think it was a 0. Yeah. So depending on what your texture coordinates are, which probably have some kind of correlation to the positions as well, then you can kind of tweak the texture to your liking. And if you're really clever and you figure out how to do like all the UV mapping stuff, you can take care of most of the texture mapping in code in the C# side of things. Now, one thing I will bring to your attention is when you want to import your texture, it does kind of matter where you put it. Well, depending on how robust you want things to be. So I put things in the resources folder, which you can access here. Where am I? Under properties? Yeah. Solution Explorer, properties, go to resx, resources.resx, which I should have up here. And as you can see, I have two textures, continents. I don't know if you can see it. I can't really zoom in this view, but it's fine. I have continents and I have brick BW, so black and white. Now I had some issues. I couldn't load for some reason the brick black and white texture, even though I was referencing from the right place. Everything was consistent, and the build action, if I can just show you, where am I? Build action here on the right. When you highlight resources.resx, you want to keep it as embedded resource as far as I'm aware. There is a resource option as well that might work too. I'm not 100% sure. Haven't really delved too much into what these actually do, but as far as I know, embedded resource works just fine for this. But I was having issues with another texture and some other textures. Only the continents one worked, so be careful with that. Maybe you can figure out what's going on there. And so yeah, this is about all I want to delve into in this particular video. Just a quick, should I say, yeah, like a run through of how you can place textures onto a piece of geometry. It is possible in WPF ViewPort3D. It's kind of the easy way of doing things. So if you need like something done quick, you know, this is an option. And there's a lot you can delve into, and you can kind of you know, take advantage of the ViewPort 3D, what it has to offer, to create quite compelling and interesting pieces of geometry and some really cool scenes as well. So I'm going to leave it there for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching this, and like once again, my name is Will. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free. Link will be in the description. That's William Steady Jimmo. I love to chat anything to do with tech, software, or anything, you know, if you just have a request maybe. I actually had a request for a video by a cool person. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. This particular video sort of covers that request because my previous video already covered. It was just to how to render like a triangle on the screen, and I figure that this is kind of sufficient because everything you need to do to render any kind of polygon is covered with this and the other video, which I will hopefully link in the description if I don't forget. It's all to do with your ViewPort 3D. It's just that I kind of take things a step further, and instead of just like a flat piece of geometry for an entire video, I think it's a bit more interesting to talk more about, you know, like textures and 3D geometry. I think that's a little bit more interesting. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, I bid you a great day. Bye bye.